What a beautiful evening, and boy, have we needed to see this week. I know that I haven't been on at all this week because life here has been a bit of a nightmare, and I will fill you in and just share, because I know that so many of you, I've been on YouTube for, I don't know, 10 years, more than 10 years, I don't know. This is our pepper plant. Got some peppers coming along in there somewhere. Yeah, there you go, look. See that? Actually smells lovely. And then we've got different types of tomatoes. So these are more like cooking tomatoes. These are little cherry tomatoes. But we never get to take any red ones inside because Russell and Jack eat them all. And so we haven't yet taken a bunch inside, but they're going lovely and red. So we have got here, I'm not sure, cabbages or Brussels sprouts, I'm not sure. We're going to have plenty of green beans. Our apple tree over there by the shadow of my head there is getting some lovely apples on it. There you go. Little tiny apples, but going nicely red. Some more green beans here. Radishes, a few radishes and carrots. And these massive courgette plants. It has now reseeded itself and is making another courgette plant. So we have had nothing but courgettes. So today, which is Sunday, Saturday, the 2nd of August or the 3rd of August? 2nd, I think. It's Saturday today. And I have made a courgette cake, 2 courgette cakes actually. An apple cake with Bramley apples, because we're just starting to get Bramley apples in. And apple and blackberry crumble. And that is what I've made today. There's so these are beef tomatoes. You see that one's finally going red. I feel like it needs to come indoors really and go red indoors. My little water fountain that we have a pigeon come in that really likes that. And then up here to where I've put in some begonias. That is an Emma Bridgewater rose back there. We've got a few other little floor coverings, hostas, just a few. Look at these fuchsias. Aren't they beautiful? They are so lovely. So lovely. That is one of those red plants that you have at Christmas. I just put it outside when it died this year. And now it's sprouting. Don't know what it's going to be. Our Kerry is here in the guest room. Look at this fuchsia. Oh, there's Jack's wheel. We have had Jack here this afternoon. Jack's wheel. The little fuchsias there. There we go. So the grass isn't too bad. It's not too bad. But it's beautiful. Hear the wood pigeons? Gonna have a beautiful sunset tonight, I think. They're so lucky. Look who I've brought out round with me on our walk. I turn around this way. Oh, you don't want the sun in your eyes, do you, babes? I'll turn back this way. Then it won't be in your eyes, Puppet. Is Emily. Emily has on a vintage baby grow today. And it says in the garden. Oh, my garden. Yeah, my garden. I think it's vintage anyway. I think it's old stock. Finally able to smile. And I will tell you why. And there's Emily. I'll put her in here for now. So I bought this off of Vinted. I don't know if it is vintage. It definitely is vintage style, because this is like what baby grows that my eldest daughter wore in the 80s. They were very much like this. I don't think I've got any down here that I can show you. I think I might just have them back up in the house. But Emily's nice and safe in my old cot there. Not mine, literally. I bought it. I bought it pre-loved. Because they're only good for display now, because they're not safe for children in today's regulations. But anyway, Emily, I'll leave Emily there, and I'll share with you the happenings of this past week. Hi. So as I say, I'm filming this on Saturday. I'm sure it's the 2nd today, but bear with me because I don't know. We don't know the days and weeks or whatever at the moment. Let me just put that around this way a bit. Nope. It's the sun is rebounding off of that, and I don't know if it is for you, but it kind of like is for me, rebounding off of that. What have you got in your peripheral vision? You've got that. Okay, so I'll put you there, and hopefully that'll be better. I'm down in Hillside now. So Jack and his mummy have just gone home, and my daughter's here. I'm really sorry that I didn't keep up with many of you this week, and I haven't uploaded. Just lift my bosoms up. I don't have a bra on. And I haven't uploaded all week. It's been an awful, awful, awful week. Probably the scariest week of being a grandma, since being a grandma. I wouldn't say scariest week, because one of my daughters used to get seriously ill as well. So on Sunday, let's take it back. Last Thursday, so not the Thursday just gone, the week before, Ross and I took Jack out for the day. He was sick twice in the car, and we took him home to mummy. He was sick the next day with mummy. He couldn't hold anything down. And Saturday we had him for his sleepover while she went to work. We knew that he hadn't been well, and we all thought it would just be, a sickness bug and he would get over it. But we were concerned that he hadn't been able to keep anything down. And so his mum would have taken him to the doctors or rung 111, which is, in our country, their response. Before you ring 999, which is emergency response, you ring 111 and you get advice. So I'm just trying to put my Sylvanian family's glasses on while I'm talking to you, because it helps my mind. So anyway, right, so his mum finished work at lunchtime on Sunday, and that's what, if he hadn't have kept anything down. And so he was sick then in the night. He was sick in the night, in the middle of the night, probably about 11 o'clock at night on the Saturday night. So we told Mummy Sunday morning. At 9 o'clock, he kept the bottle down. He had a bottle then, and he kept that down. No, he had water, and with a diorolite, which is like a like got electrolytes and everything in, just to prevent dehydration, really. And my girls had that a lot when they were babies, and it's a well-known thing. We buy it from the pharmacy here. So Rebecca had been giving him that as well, and so we gave him some of that, and he kept that in. Then Russ had a shower, and I said, right, I'll go and have a shower now, because we were keeping an eye on him, because obviously he wasn't feeling too good. So I was like, well, I'll have a shower now then. And then while I was in the bathroom, Russ screamed for me to come out. Jack was having a fit. Yes. Absolutely terrifying. He had no temperature, nothing. I rang 999. We put him on his side. Well, that we put him on his side, but recovery position. But they wanted to see his breathing. So while I was on the line with 999, I had to count how many breaths he was every time I saw a breath. So then we were waiting for the ambulance, and the ambulance rang us up. The lady from the ambulance rang us up, and we did a video call with her, which was absolutely amazing. Like, I got off the call from 999. She said, go and put Jack on your bed, in the middle of the bed. Just put him in a recovery position and just make sure he's breathing. Any problems, ring us straight back. You know, we're getting the ambulance. The ambulance rang, the ambulance service rang, and they can do a secure video. So they videoed, like, they sent us a link through my phone, and I videoed Jack at the time, so that she could see what Jack looked like. We did his temperature, because I've a thermometer here. Since COVID, we've kept a thermometer. So I did his temperature. I knew he didn't have a temperature. We already knew that, but we did the temperature again. He didn't have a temperature. He felt really, really hot though, but he didn't have a temperature. She could see he was breathing. The hospital is we could get to the hospital by the time we'd like sorted everything out and like got dressed and shut the dog up and stuff like that. So we had to shut the dog up for the paramedics. And then she said, well, could you take him to hospital, because he looks okay, but somebody needs to obviously sit in the back with him in case, and if anything happens on the way to the hospital, just ring me again. And so Russ and I got in my car and went straight to the hospital with him. So we get to A&E, and Jack is like really tired. Of course he's really tired. He's just had a seizure. And but he is like alert. He is awake. He's alert. He's sitting up. And when you go to A&E, you see like a triage nurse first, so she deals with you. So we saw her. She did all his obs and everything. Checked his blood sugar, because you can have a seizure if you've got low blood sugar. Checked his temperature again, because like she said, he felt hot. He did not have a temperature, which she found really confusing. When the doctor came in, he said that this is very common, that it's a febrile convulsion, and they see it a lot in babies from 6 months to 6 years. They usually outgrow it. And he said, look, just don't worry about it. Don't worry, he'll be fine. He said, I see a lot of them. He said, I must see at least 1 or 2 a day. And so we were encouraged by that. And so then we went, he said, right, what we'd do is he had some rehydration. So we had to give him via syringe 5 mils of juice, watered down juice, every 5 minutes. 4 mils every 5 minutes. We had to record it on a sheet in the hospital, so we were in a separate room. And I rang Rebecca. Rebecca then had messaged and said, how's Jack? And I said, look, I didn't want to tell you until we knew what was going on and we were home. But Jack had a convulsion, and, you know, it's the febrile seizure. And, you know, we won't worry, but he's fine. He's in hospital. Here he is. And he was like talking. He was like, mum, mum. And then he was like saying he wanted a cracker. And Jack has had a febrile seizure before, 8 months ago. Before Christmas, he had one. And he had a temperature and he had a seizure. And he had foot and mouth, then came out after. So that's what it was. So he had that history. When a child has had one seizure, this is what we were told at the hospital, when a child has had one seizure, they are then more prone to having another seizure. And so that's why they said febrile seizures. So I get off the phone to his mum. I showed him his bag, that there were no crackers in his bag. He's always got extra little bits of food, snacks in this little bag that he carries around. I was showing him that, and he like went like that, and I thought that he was starting to have a tantrum, like because he didn't have any snacks. And I was like, I'm sorry, Jack. And I just looked at him, and his eyes had rolled back and everything. And I was like, Ross was like, he's doing it again. And I was like, nurse, baby having a seizure. And everybody comes running, and we get rushed into resus. I was absolutely I was hysterical. And I have to say I was hysterical because I'd literally just told his mum that he was going to be okay and for her not to worry. But I thought she better come down to the hospital. But no, I didn't say it at that point because we all thought it was a febrile seizure and Jack was going to be fine and we were going to be going home. So I said, look, let me know when you finish work. Ring me again and we'll tell you the situation then. And I was like, I've just told his mum he's okay. Oh my God, how am I going to tell his mum? Look at that. And, you know, and all the nurses and everything were all around him and the doctors. And oh my gosh, it was absolutely terrifying. And the doctor that came in and said he thought it was a febrile seizure came in and he said, he hasn't got a temperature. He said, I'm really sorry. He said, I did think it was a febrile seizure and he would, you know, and we would be sending you home. So then I had to ring his mum and say, you need to come to the hospital, but please, I'm now worried my daughter is going to have a bloody car accident on the way to work, on the way to the surgery. Because she was at work on her stroke ward. She works as a nurse on a stroke ward. And so I was worried then that my daughter, you know, was going to be driving crazy and have an accident herself, because there are so many cases where people follow ambulances and end up having really serious accidents themselves. And so anyway, she came to the hospital. She came in and sat with him. Me and Russ went in, just like had a breather, because it was now about 2:15. We had been in the hospital since probably 10 o'clock, 9:45, something like that. We were like, we're just going to go for a coffee and just try and we were so worried, so anxious. Anyway, so we go out and have our drink. I'm not sure if we had something to eat. We might have even had something to eat at that point. Go back. Jack's had another seizure while we've been gone. So that was his third seizure. So that was it then. He was definitely going to pediatrics and they were going to look at him. So we stayed there for a little while in the resus unit, the children's part of the resus unit in A&E, waiting for a bed or waiting for the room to become available on the pediatric ward. He was going to the high dependency unit because they just didn't understand why he was having these seizures and he didn't have a temperature. So we go up onto the ward and Jack was in the high dependency room and long story short, Jack had 7 seizures within 12 hours. So he had his first seizure before 9 o'clock. He had his last seizure before the epilepsy medicine kicked in about 9 o'clock in the night, Sunday night. The first medication that they tried him on didn't work. They went up to the second. So the doctor said there was about 6 levels of medication that they give, and they obviously start low. The same with, like, you know, we know ourselves, like from antibiotics, they always start with the lowest, cheapest method first. They always start with the low. That didn't work. That's why he had another seizure, because that just didn't work. So then we gave him, then he went to the so he had the epilepsy medication, plus a drip, plus Calpol, even though he didn't have a temperature, plus, what else did they say? What else did they give him? Antibiotics. So Jack had a really low markers for infection and inflammation in his blood. Really, really low markers. So the consultant, the doctor, as far as he was concerned, he didn't have an infection. However, the nurse that came on, staff nurse that came on later that night, she said, I feel like he should have some antibiotics just in case, because the markers are still there. He still does have elevated markers. They might be really low, but they're elevated. So she spoke to the doctor. They decided they were going to put him on antibiotics. So he went on antibiotics and had fluid first. So during this whole time, he is still having the fits. During this time, he's seen loads of doctors. I can't even tell you now what day, what happened, but Jack had a CT scan, which is a scan on his brain. He had an EEG scan, which measures electrical waves of your brain. He had an MRI, so his CT scan came back first, and it showed a shadow on the base of his neck, on the base of his skull, his brain. And but Jack moved during that CT scan, and so it could have been a shadow from him moving, but they couldn't be sure, so he needed to have an MRI. So he also had an MRI. And at this point, I asked just a few people that I know. I just asked a few people to pray. Because the last seizure was horrific, and we were actually sent out of the room. So it was terrifying. But everything came back clear. Praise the Lord, hey. Everything came back clear. Everything. So we don't know why he had these seizures. So when you have seizures without a temperature, they're called afebrile seizure. So like atypical, so they're not typical. They're unusual, and the doctor said Jack is an unusual case because we don't know why he's fitting. Nothing's showing up as to why he had fitting. So he has to now. He's on epilepsy medication for at least the next 4 weeks until we go to the clinic, the epilepsy clinic, and we can go from there, see where he's at from there. Today is Saturday. Today has been the only day where he has really been more like himself. He is still being sick. He was sick tonight. He is still being sick. He is more himself, but
he just still doesn't look right to me. He looks better. He definitely looks better. And he, you know, he's a child, he's a toddler. He wants to be in the garden. He wants to be doing stuff, but at least now he can. We've been trying to encourage him with little bits. I mean, there was a point in the hospital, he couldn't even open his eyes hardly. He was like really, really struggling to open his eyes. And he couldn't sit up unaided. He couldn't walk. He couldn't stand up. It was terrifying. But I have witnessed the hand of God this week. I know people will say, well, if there's a God, why do these things happen? Well, because they do. Because there are other things going on this earth. And God can't prevent everything. There are more things that are going on around the world that command his time and you know, his presence. And he does, you know, he has to hear you. So that is why I haven't uploaded at all this week, because I've hardly been home, just so exhausted. So we are all absolutely worn out. So my middle daughter came over from Ireland. She came over Tuesday. Wednesday. I asked her to come over on Tuesday. Actually, she came Tuesday, but late. Her flight in was really late. She didn't get to mine till 11 at night. So we just needed some help. We just needed some help because Rebecca just needed to be herself in the hospital, not worry about anybody else who's visiting, not be thinking about anybody else who's visiting, you know, just concentrate on Jack and herself. That's all that she needed to do. It's a real bright light. I'm really sorry. I'm just not there. Let's move it that way a little bit. Let's have a bit of a change around. Oh, you can see me. I've got my bra on, so it's stretching. So yeah, so that's where we are. He is better. I mean, it was such a miracle seeing him go from not being able to open his eyes hardly, not being able to sit up, not being able to stand, let alone walk. And then to see the change was absolutely amazing. But it has been terrifying, and I am anxious about having Jack to sleep over. Of course I am. But I can't let the fear win. You know, we have to go on. We have to move on. We move along. You know, time doesn't stand still, does it? It moves along. So we need to move along and with it, and you'll see what comes. He seems to be okay on this medication. So that is great. I'm so thankful for the doctors and the nurses and the scientists and the researchers and the clinics, and you know, I'm just so thankful for all of that. I'm so thankful that we have a number we can ring. You could speak to somebody who can, you know, keep you calm and practical. You know, at home I was all calm with Jack. I was completely calm until he had the second fit in the hospital, and but you know, he was in the hospital, which is the best place he could be in, really, wasn't he? And so there we go. But I know that there are so many more people out there who deal with these sorts of things on a daily basis with no change. This is their daily basis. And I just want to say that you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. My daughter was amazing. My Rebecca, Jack's mummy, absolutely amazing. She is. It's a horrendous week for her as well this week, because it's coming up to the anniversary of her brother's passing a year ago. So that it's been like, we had like things set in place this week, so to take the strain off of her because of her grieving. And this did take her mind off of it, didn't it? But not in the way we wanted. So I just want to just say that's the reason why, really. I've been changing my babies in the night, though, because it helps me keep my mind off of it. But since Kerry came down, when Kerry came, I could have the whole, like, I could stay at home, because I didn't feel like I needed to go down and be strong for Rebecca either, and give Rebecca a break. Kerry was now here and she could help. So that was good. We are like a nice little unit, supportive unit. And I'm so thankful that I've got that. It's been really lovely having Kerry here. My middle daughter lives in Ireland. So it's been really nice. She works, you know, so it's not easy for her to just get on a plane and come, but she, of course she did. This is her nephew. And it's been lovely to have her here. She goes home tomorrow. And we've got Jack tomorrow. We've got him overnight. So I doubt I'll be doing a video tomorrow. We've got him overnight and I've got him Monday. So yeah. Anyway, so that's what's been happening. And I didn't put a warning at the beginning of this video, because I forgot. Oh, I don't know if I'll remember when I edit, and I am sorry. I mean, I haven't changed, guys. I've just been extra tired and extra stressed. I'm still your Caroline, who doesn't have, you know, have all of her brain cells herself anyway. So it was nice today. So we had Jack for a few hours today. And that's the first time that we've had him. Well, no, we went over yesterday and we took him out around the town just for some mummy to have, like, so she could go and do a bit of her shopping and what she needed to do for a bit. Give Kerry a break as well. So we just took Jack in the pushchair and walked him around the town and had a drink in a coffee shops outside. It was so nice. It was a lovely day. Jack really enjoyed himself. And in fact, another man who was having food at the cafe outside. It's lovely because it's so sunny. All the tables now are outside. They put all the tables outside in the winter anyway, so you just sit outside. Even if it's cold, it doesn't matter, does it? Sit outside, get some air. So we sat outside, and when I went in to pay, a man said to us that Jack was a credit to us. And I was just like, Rebecca's like, what? I said, yeah, he just sits there back, doesn't he? Because he's with Granny and Grandad. Because with her, he is just such a monkey. He's been a monkey here today. Fine, until his mum comes. And that is the truth. Absolutely no bother. And then as soon as his mum comes, that's it. He throws stuff on the floor. He sits there, starts having a tantrum. I remember those days well. So it's nice to see that again, because it was at the beginning of the week. We didn't know what was going to be the outcome of all these seizures that he was having. Luckily, I mean, I say luckily, but fortunately, none of them last for more than the 5 minutes. If they last for more than 5 minutes, that's when you can get some damage. So fortunately they didn't. But oh, it's horrific. Absolutely, it is horrific. Absolutely horrific. Wow. But anyway, he is still here. Thank the Lord. He is here. He is a little monkey again. So there we go. So I just thought I'd, share. So I haven't got the energy for a creative video. Do you understand what I mean? I had all the stuff out because I wanted to do a video at the beginning of the school holidays, like all the little bits and bobs that I'd bought the kids, little Frankie's, like that little house, that little stable, stuff for a bike. I've got a new play tent for them. Blah, 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 blah. I want to do a video about this and opening it and setting it all up and all. I just didn't have the energy. And that's okay. That is okay. Because they are only dolls. I know they are special dolls. I know that. And you all know how I feel about my reborns. I wouldn't be without them. But the most important person was Jack this week, and my Rebecca, my daughter and her son. So the reborns are still there. They're still getting changed. They're still getting loved. They're just not being videoed. I have been putting some photos onto Instagram because that's about all I can manage. That's about all I've been able to cope with, is putting a few videos up on Instagram when I've changed them, when I've done whatever I've done with them. So yeah, that's been the week. And I'm just catching up with myself now, guys. So I just thought I'd share with you because I have a lot of followers, and I know that if it was me and it's somebody I follow, I'm like, what's happened? Where are they? They're not even like left a post. I just could not even. I needed to step away. I needed to, everything, all my energy, all my focus was just on Jack and Rebecca, and it had to be. But we have to move along. We have to move along and not get stuck. Not get stuck in the worry. We know what to do if it happens again. We've got his medication. Yes, we're nervous. I've got Jack on my own on Monday. I am nervous. But I am confident in myself that I know what to do. I hope that makes some sense. So we will get back to videoing. I'll do what I can. It's just, this is Saturday, so it's just going to take a couple of days for me to get my energy back up and my thoughts to be not Jack and Rebecca focused, if that makes sense. I am the sort of person that can only focus, that can only think about one thing at a time. And once that's sorted, then I can move along to something else. And I used my reborns that as a distraction, but I didn't have the time or the energy because we were, just at the hospital all day, every day, or all day. And one day, it just feels like 2 weeks. Yeah, you're only there for a day, but it feels like you've been there for 2 weeks. So, onward we must go. Onward we must go. And I'm just looking around at my Sylvanians because I've been working hard as well on my retirement home here. It's looking really, really good. So I'm just going to do a bit more to that while I'm just sat down here, just recharging some of my own batteries. Or I might end up just going and lying on the bed because, yeah, now it's time to rest up and, you know, just not worry so much. I'm trying to pick the glue off of this because I left the lid off my glue, and I'm going to have to wash this in soapy water, but I'm just nitpicking and I'm just waffling on now. But anyway, so there we go. That's where I've been. And thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. And please don't desert us because, you know, we were building up a really good community here. And I know that there's plenty of other videos you can watch. But thank you for tuning in and watching us. And yeah, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. All right? Look after yourself. You're important as well. Okay? Make sure you take this as your message to look after yourself. Make sure that you are as healthy as you can be for your one life. Remember, we've only got one crack at this. So let's just bloody enjoy it while we are here. Yeah? So little snippets of joy, even with all of this been going on with Jack, there were still things that we could smile about. There were still things we could smile about. Like the brilliant sunset that we've seen here the last few days. We have seen a lovely sunset. And it really made me smile and just so thankful for the Lord for showing me how beautiful things still are. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that I have got lovely people in this community. I'm sorry I waffled on so much, but I really wanted to bring you up to date because I know that people will be concerned now that it's been like a week than I last posted. So thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Bye.